we're the new kids on the block, and this is Project 15. We are students at the University of South Alabama in Dr. Strange's EDM 310 class. I am Ashley Showles.
Daphne McFadden.
And Leah Garvins.
Okay, today we'll be covering how to identify and classify and describe plane shapes.
And I'm going to be teaching you how to identify, classify, and sort solid shapes.
And to finish things out, I'm going to teach everyone how to partition circles and rectangles into wholes and 4 equal squares using halves, fourths, and quarters.
Okay, so first we're going to identify and classify plane shapes. Now these are your flat shapes, your two-dimensional shapes. And this is a first grade lesson, so we have a square, a triangle, a circle, and a rectangle. And so we're going to connect our square. So our square has 4 sides and they're equal sides, and so we're going to draw a line from the square to the word square. And so this would be a triangle which has 3 equal sides, and so we would connect this shape to the word triangle. And this is round. It has no sides, yes, or corners, and so it's a circle. So we would draw a line and connect it to the circle. And then our last shape, using process of elimination, would be our rectangle because it has 4 sides, but they're not equal, so it's a rectangle.
Okay, I'm Daphne, and I will be with you today doing identifying, classifying, and sorting solid shapes. We have the cone, cylinder, and cube. These are 3-dimensional shapes because they give off a 3-dimensional look where you can look right through them. Okay, so first we have the cone. Okay, so the cone is going to be a triangular shape with a circular shape at the bottom, which gives it the 3D look. So actually the cone is going to look similar to this. So have a little ice cream. But this is your cone, so you're going to draw your line from the word to the shape. Next we have our cylinder. Your top picture is your cylinder, so we're going to draw the line from the picture to the word. And of course the cube is going to have, 6 equal sides, and it looks like a square. And it looks like an ice cube, so that's a good way of remembering it. So this is your cube. And I hope you enjoyed learning about solid shapes and 3D figures.
For our third lesson, we're going to be cutting up our shapes into wholes, 2 and 4 equal squares, and having halves, fourths, and quarters. And the shapes we're using, if you remember from our first lesson, we're going to be using squares, rectangles, and circles. And our squares, we're going to cut them in half. So you can cut them in half so that you have 2 equal sides. And that way you have 1 half and another half. We'll step over here, we'll do it in half again. And again, you see you have equal sides. And one more time. And again, you have 2 equal sides. With a rectangle, you can split it in half also, just as long as you have the 2 equal sides. And with circles, you can do the same thing. And that's only one way to cut halves. You can cut it in half other ways. I'm only going to erase one of each so we can make it a little simpler. You can cut things in half this way. And this way with a circle. Or you can cut it diagonally. Just as long as you have 2 equal sides, you'll have halves. And now for another part, we're going to talk about fourths and halves, or fourths and quarters. Fourths and quarters are essentially the same. If you want to cut something into fourths, you're going to have 4 equal parts. And as you can see here, you have 4 separate parts. That's also known as quarters. You can think of quarters if you have $1. It takes 25 cents for 1 quarter. And there are 4 quarters and $1. So just like quarters and $1, you have 4 equal parts to make up a whole square. And you can do that in a circle. Again, you have the 4 equal parts. I guess you can do it in a rectangle too. And once again, as you see, you have the 4 equal parts. And you have 4 halves, 4 fourths, and quarters. And now we're going to take all the lessons that we learned and we're going to put them together and play little games for a review. Back to Miss Ashley.
Okay, so since we were doing a first grade lesson, first graders like to play games. So the first game we found was identifying plane shapes. And so it takes you to this little website and it's going to load. Okay, and then it says which of these is a rectangle. And so you see the circle, and then this is a triangle, so this one would be the rectangle. So you click the rectangle and submit. Okay, and now what shape is this? Now this shape has 4 equal sides, and so this shape would be a square. And then this shape has 3 sides, and so 3 sides means that we have a triangle. And it just keeps going and going, and we already did this. What's a square? This is our circle and triangle, and so this would be our square.
I'm here to do your solid shapes again. Let's go to our link here. We're going to click here. We're going to go to the same website as previous with Miss Ashley. I'm going to get on this side. Okay, it's asking you what figure is this, and as a 3D figure, there are different types of this. It's not a sphere because it's not circular. It's close to a cube, but not quite, and it's not a cylinder because it's not tall or round. So it would actually be a rectangular prism. We've seen this shape before, and it was in our previous slide. And it wouldn't be a sphere because it's not circular. It could be a pyramid, but it still has that circular bottom. So it would actually be a cone. And we've had these shapes as well before. And we said before this was a rectangular prism, and this is a sphere, so the only other option for cube would be the first one. We're going to click submit. And we're going to take it over to Miss Leah.
Alright, and now we're going to try some games with partitioning our shapes. Going back to our website once again, as we did twice before. And the question says, which figure shows halves? And if you remember, that the halves were the 2 equal parts, and the quarters were the 4 equal parts. In the top one, you see 4 parts, so that wouldn't be the halves. So the second one, that has the 2 equal halves, would have to be the halves. And this one shows thirds. So with thirds, you were looking for 3 equal parts. In the top one, it's not quite equal, so that wouldn't be it. And the second one, since it's equal, it's going to be our thirds. You got that one right. And then with the fourths, we're looking for the 4 equal parts. In the top, there's only 3 equal parts, so that would only be thirds. And the bottom one is going to be the 4 equal parts, which would be our fourths or our quarters, as we discussed earlier. And we're going to hit submit. And we got that one. And halves one more time. The bottom have the thirds, the 3 equal parts. The top only has 2 equal parts, which would be our halves. And that is going to complete our lesson on our shapes and cutting things into different parts.